Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. Today we've got a good friend of the podcast. We've had him on several times, Zac Griffith of Summit Productions. Zac, how you doing?
Awesome, Jay.
I just saw that you harvested a buck, I believe in Utah, on your Instagram account, and it looks like you've got a little bit of history behind it. Why don't you set the scene for this hunt?
Yeah, man, it's one of those deer. It's the family traditional area we've hunted my whole life. I grew up hunting there. I killed my first deer there with a rifle, and I've killed, I think, 15 or 20 deer out of that canyon since I was 13 or 14 years old, and it's just been our family's, it's our stomping grounds. And so there may be bigger deer in other units and other places, but the history, the nostalgia, the stories, the memories are it's too much I can't hunt anywhere else for my general over-the-counter unit. So this buck is a buck that's just been one that's been on my radar for about 3 years now. And he's in a tough area, a ton of hunting pressure, a lot of lions. The lions up there are very liberally managed, where they're just almost impossible to get a tag for. In the country's so rugged that no houndsman will run up there. So the lions just massacre the big bucks, and then the rifle hunters do their part. And it's just a tough place to see a deer grow to 4, 5, 6 years old. And so, we're not looking for genetics. We're not looking for score. We're looking for age, and we're looking for history and close encounters. And, the buck that gets away is always the one that you want the worst. And so, ironically, this buck has all of the above. I mean, he's an absolute tank when it comes to scoring. He's got the best frame I've ever seen on a deer. In a general unit like that. He's outsmarted me so many times I couldn't even explain it to you how many run-ins I've had with him. I've had him on trail cameras. We've tried pushes. We've tried stalks. I mean, the deer is impossible to kill, and he literally just got lucky every time. We would always laugh, that the 6 or 7 bucks in the herd would go up to draw right to me, and then he'd go off to the left and break off. Just knew he had that sixth sense. So to get it over with, it's epic, and it's almost disappointing in a way, because it's bittersweet. Now it's come to an end, and I don't have anything left to chase up there. It's kind of like I got the buck, and now what, But luckily I have my wife. She has a tag up there, and then my dad and family. We're gonna keep hammering. Obviously next year there'll be new guys on the radar to chase. So it's just right now it's kind of a strange dynamic that I'm in.
For sure. So 3 years ago is when you first noticed this particular buck, and did he have a pretty tight home range?
Very patternable.
What are some of the characteristics that you always noticed about him?
The thing about where I hunt, it's very high country, very high desert, and water is a very sparse resource. And so, we can always locate the deer, the herd, or the bachelor herd by their watering sources, or just whatever canyons have the greenest foliage that year. And so they leapfrog 3 to 4 basins, but they're always in there. And it's just like any high country area. They're ancient trails, ancient beds. The deer have been using these for centuries. I mean, there's a reason they live where they live. It's safest. They have their escape routes planned, and so nothing's changed there. But this buck in particular, it's kind of interesting. I harvested what I believe is either his father or a relative of him, but 3 years ago I killed a buck that we've been chasing in there for a while. That was about a 5-year-old deer, and we called him Square because he was 26 wide and we thought 26 tall. And I shot him back through the diaphragm, mid chest, and it took him about 20 minutes to expire. But when he ran up the hill and laid down, he was, obviously hurt, punched up. This buck that I killed yesterday actually was a 2-year-old, about a 150, 155 4-point at the time. Absolutely amazing genetics. We knew he was a baby, but he had a great big frame. He actually left the herd and went back, and like a soldier in battle, basically gathered the buck we called Square up and nudged him and got him out of his bed and pushed his stiff legs over the top into this rocky basin. And I literally was bewildered. I couldn't believe that an arrow had just absolutely annihilated his chest cavity. And this little buck pushed him, and guided him over the hill. And little buck is so short, his nose was barely as high as Square's hips, that he kept pushing him, and he actually coaxed him over the hill, And I filmed the whole thing. It's all on my Archers Educated season 2 video. And he goes over the hill, and then my buck, we didn't know this, but he died right there and rolled down to the bottom. And we didn't go back until the morning, but it was a sleepless night because I was like, what the heck just happened? I mean, how far is he going to push that deer? He's dead on his feet, but we had no idea. So that same buck that pushed the big one that I ended up getting, the next year and the year after, and now this year, we've been on him and trying to take him out because he just has such an awesome frame, and he's just got gigantic forks, and his inside spread is only like 18 inches. He's very narrow and tight. Score-wise, I couldn't care less what he scores. I know that the crop system is very structured for a specific frame type, but I don't care what he scores. He's just the history and the look to him. He's just so epic, you know. He's just awesome. So it's really exciting to be able to get him down, and you know, the history, like I said, is probably the greatest trophy of all of it. So
yeah, you know, the unbelievable thing about him is he's got really, really deep forks. I mean, for a buck that's, you say, only 18 inches inside, I mean, he's got really deep forks. He's just a great looking buck. And sounds like, you know, hunting bucks that are, you know, urban bucks or high country bucks that, you know, you have a lot of history with. I think sometimes it almost becomes a quest just to get that animal. Regardless if you know, this year he didn't grow a front fork. I mean, it's almost like that's the one that you want to kill. Talk to me a little bit about going into the season. Were you specifically targeting this particular buck for sure, or did he all of a sudden become on your hit list as his forks continued to grow out, or what was the status on that?
No, I'm really glad you asked that question because in social media especially, you know, I get a lot of crap from guys that are so score centered and score focused, because to me as an archer, that I don't have a lot of money. I don't buy landowner tags. I don't pay guides. I hunt general, what I consider garbage units, especially down in Arizona. I was hunting metro right behind Cave Creek and all that stuff. I mean, it's hammered by traffic and hunters. And so to me, I'm not trying to find a 210 buck. It doesn't, score's irrelevant. I want the toughest quarry in the unit. I want the smartest, oldest, gnarliest buck. I don't care if he's a 3x4. I don't care if he's a 2x4. If he's got chewed up ears and a Roman nose, that's the buck I want, because he's smart. He's definitely a worthy foe. I mean, he's the one. I don't know. To me, like a deer, their score is all about genetics, you know, and obviously some other factors. But when it comes to age, I mean, it's just pure grit. The bucks that live longer are just badass. I don't know what else to say. I like old deer. So I've gotten a lot of crap for that because it sounds like a scapegoat. Well, you don't kill high scoring deer, so you'd settle for the age. I'm actually dead serious when it comes down to it. I've seen 3-year-olds that scored 170 that were, I could have shot them off a 2-track off my quad because they're so dumb and immature, whereas, you know, a 6-year-old buck that scores 130 might be impossible to kill with the bow, literally, because he's just too smart. So this buck especially, Jay, score-wise, obviously that's what put us on the radar because he is so unique. But just his age, he's the oldest deer in that herd. I believe I killed his dad or his uncle or something because, you know, he had a special connection to go all the way back down the basin to get that deer up the hill. So it's just, like I said, it's been this emotional attachment, this recognition, this year after year, you know, contemplation about where will he be, where will I get him, how will it play out, what will he look like. And like you said, you know, sometimes they drop a fork, sometimes they add some extras. This buck this year is the cleanest he's been. He had, last year he was missing an eye guard for some reason, but he had a big cheater off his G3. This year he's just perfectly symmetrical and just, you know, he's just gorgeous. I saw him on the cameras in July, and I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, he's come in just amazing. So, I mean, I've had deer come into my trails and all my spots, and I had a couple ambush opportunities on really great deer, but he was my radar. He was the one I was trying to kill. I mean, there was no question. There's no deer up there I would have settled for but him. So I'm super grateful that it worked out.
GoHunt.com Insider is by far the most valuable tool a Western hunter could give themselves. GoHunt.com Insider are the industry leaders and #1 source for Western hunting for a lot of reasons. GoHunt.com Insider have changed the game for how hunts and hunting information are found. Within a matter of minutes using Filtering 2.0, you'll be able to filter by state, species, residency, odds of drawing a tag, specific hunting dates, and harvest success percentages to find the hunts that fit exactly what you're looking for. If you are a guy that applies across the West or just in your home state but want to find some new opportunity, there's no better way to do it than using GoHunt.com Insider. As an exclusive offer to my listeners, if you sign up for a GoHunt.com Insider membership for $149 a year and use the promo code JScott at checkout, you'll receive a $50 KUIU gift card. Head on over to GoHunt.com/insider and get yourself the most valuable membership a hunter could have. Reel game calls featuring the elk reel. Reel Game Calls makes innovative, realistic, and easy-to-master calls using their proprietary, revolutionary design. They are located and manufactured in Gypsum, Colorado. Their calls were designed and battle-tested on some of the hardest hunted terrain on Earth. Check out elkreel.com. Use the promo code JScott and receive a 20% discount on all purchases. Go to www.elkreel.com.
Yeah, how did the hunt actually break down as far as were you able to hunt them on opening day? Can you kind of walk us through, how it went down, and did it take you a while to kill them? Kind of walk me through the whole thing.
Sure. All through July and August, they're like in most high country bucks, he was very patternable. We had him on camera consistently during daylight hours. He'd come through a draw and work into his feeding area where he could water and feed and bed, and there's just a pinch point that the deer use up in the cliffs, and you could see the trail from Google Earth. It's so thick. It's like 2 feet wide and about a foot deep of dust right now because deer just use it religiously. So they were very on pattern. But what happened the week before the hunt, and I posted on Instagram, is we had a big female lion move in, and she started chasing deer all over the canyon. In fact, I filmed her stalking one of the bucks, and I missed the video. It was tough to get through my phone scope and my swallow stutter, but she was actually ran down the cliff and tried to hook a buck in his hamstring. It was super cool. I wish I could have filmed it. It was like, Marty Stauffer kind of stuff. It was really, really neat to see. But that stinking cat really screwed things up for the opener because she was in there ambushing him pretty much right where I sit and trying to get up there and just shook things up. So by opening day, I got into my basin. I started trying to pattern them, trying to block their escape routes. I typically would bed them down at night, and then in the morning I would hike in the dark and try to get to where I thought they would transition because they did work a big loop. They would work like a 3-day cycle from basin to basin, and I would try to cut them off, intercepting them into their next, into the next stage. And that's what I always did. But they'd always just go down one draw below me or one above me, or they'd cut through the timber. It's how it is. The stars never aligned. So I was getting frustrated. I got an awesome wife who's the toughest chick I've ever seen. She follows me around up there, and I forget she's there sometimes because she's so low maintenance. I've taken her into some literal hellholes. And for a young girl hunter, she's unbelievably tough, and she's watched me bow hunt public land, and she just hasn't seen me kill anything because we've been together for a couple of years now, and it's been tough for her because she, new hunters, you need to get them some success early so they can get a taste of it. So she's seen the struggle, and she learned the hard way how bad, bow hunting really does suck. So she's been there with me, but luckily she was there when the stars aligned. The bucks came through the canyon. We were able to just get a great shot on him. He died just over the top, literally a quarter mile, well, not even that far. I would say 300 yards from where his dad or Square died 3 years earlier. Just a great photo setting. It was just perfect, man. It was always stressful, but it just played out really well.
That's awesome. That's really neat to have that much experience with the buck and then kind of play cat and mouse with them a little bit. Did you notice if that lion, that female lion, did you notice any fresh deer kills, or do you know if she was able to get any deer killed?
Yeah, she killed 2 deer. She killed a fawn. There's a doe with a radio collar, and it's funny, she has like an antenna collar, like they look like headphones. There's little antennas on both sides. She had 2 fawns, and unfortunately one of them was taken by the lion, and then the lion actually got another. I believe it was a little buck because like it's a longer spine. The rib cage is bigger than a fawn, but the head is gone, so I figured something tore off, to get the velvet or whatever. So, but none of the big bucks died. I've got all of them on the radar. They were still on cameras in the middle of the night and stuff. But I think when I moved in there, Jay, I think she got out of there because as soon as I started hunting it, like as opposed to just scouting it from afar, once I started mingling around in her country, she got out of there. So I haven't seen a sign of her since, not a track or anything. And it's been almost 3 weeks. So,
was your strategy scouting? You mentioned looking from afar. For the listeners out there, when you're doing your summer scouting, do you try and stay out of the actual area and just glass them? And I noticed you say that they were on a 3-day cycle or pattern. Is that from trail camera knowledge, or is that from you actually watching them from day to day as they move?
Both. They'd hit the camera on a 3-day cycle. I had one on their water source. I had one in one of the saddles. And literally the cameras would tell you what days they were crossing. The problem with the cameras, and this is so typical of a high country mature deer, the dang things would never come through at consistent times of the day. They come through every 3 days, but sometimes at 2 a.m., sometimes at 4:45 p.m. It was just like, oh my goodness. And they're high desert, so it's crunchy. We call it Doritos. The whole hill is just covered in just crunchy leaves, and it's skunk cabbage, and it's impossible to stalk a deer in that country, and it's so gravelly and rocky that you're just rolling rocks. And so I've chased deer up there nonstop. I mean, I'm very aggressive and probably, to a fault, but I have realized to kill a big buck like that, you're not going to sneak up on him. First of all, they bed butt to butt, facing every direction possible. The big bucks are out cold. The little bucks are awake and alert. You just cannot get in on those bachelor herds. So what we've learned is either do very light pushes. I don't mean like, drives, but literally just maybe send some guy up a ridge where he's exposed just to get the deer's attention and maybe get him to move a little and try to ambush him or cut him off, or just break him, get him either coming into feed or leaving to feed. And that's how we got him. We got into that pinch point that I sat literally 40 times. And, we went in there with very low expectations, and sure enough, we hear rocks rolling. I turn around and there he is. And my wife is literally right at my hip. So she got an over the shoulder perspective of a super steep downhill angle on a giant buck that, I was shaking like a leaf, Jay. I'm pretty calm normally, but this deer, he had me. I had to let down. I was breathing so hard. I could not believe it. And it was mostly because I was incredulous too, that it was just working out so well. I just couldn't believe it. It's like, after all these efforts, this is how it's playing out. It's like a layup, But again, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's how it always is. It seems like with bow hunting, you're always like, I can't believe it happened. It just worked out. But the other 500 times that you failed, you thought it would work out, and it didn't. So that's the irony. That's where that whole bow hunting sucks phrase comes from. The lowest of lows is what yields the highest of highs. It's the net change that really makes it so awesome. It's the elation. That's why it's exhausting, because I keep going. The harder I go, the more I expect success, because it's like, okay, this is getting so bad. Any second now it's going to explode and I'm going to get him, And so you just have to keep reteaching yourself that. But for her to see it, for me to be there, for her to be in the pictures and just to be a part of it was just unforgettable. Super cool.
That's awesome. I think if I remember right, you kind of got bumps and bruises last deer season, chasing deer around, and that's just what I remember. How does it feel to, get bumped around and then finally, pull this off and kill this deer? I bet you it makes it even sweeter.
It's sweeter, but I can't, it sounds ironic, but it's actually kind of disappointing it's over. I woke up the night after I got him, and I was stiff, walked into the bathroom, and I just looked at the mirror, and I'm like, I got him. He's dead. He's in the freezer. Like, story's over, man. We got that deer, and I never thought I really would. I mean, I thought I would, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Deep down inside. So it's awesome. It's bittersweet. I respect these deer more than most people would ever even comprehend. There's no way to really explain it. They mean so much to me. It's one of the reasons why it's hard for me when guys try to bag on me or attack me personally about never quote unquote killing anything. I even saw one comment one time like, "Why don't you just kill a meat buck?" And I was like, I'm 35 years old, man. Do you know how many meat bucks I've shot? Like, I don't need the meat to live. I love the meat, but this is a personal journey for me. This is and I don't need to explain it to anyone. You know that, yeah. But sometimes it's just like, man, these guys don't get it. Well, they don't get it because they come from different circumstances, different backgrounds, and that's the world in general. So I've learned to just ignore it and just move on because you can't explain it. It's just, if you don't get it, you don't get it. I mean, I've had guys out nonstop. What's he score? It's like, I really and truly, if I run a tape on him, it's going to be disappointing to me because a number is he's not going to be 190 inches. He's too narrow. There's just no way. So I don't really care what he scores. I mean, his G4s are 14 inches long, and he's got 24-inch main beams. He's awesome. I can get a number. He's in the 80s, but I don't want to know what it is. And if I score him, it's going to be for me only. So, because to me, the trophy is not the number. That's what I just cannot stop stressing. It's the journey, man. This deer, to film, the effort, the failures, the miserable nights, the missed shots, all of that combined is what creates the victory, and so that's the trophy to me. Again, scores are irrelevant.
Yeah, for sure. If you drew a tag in a limited entry unit where you had your 30 days to hunt a big buck in a unit that has 200-inch plus bucks, and you had the ability to go out where you could look over a ton of bucks and figure out which buck you wanted to shoot. What I hear you saying is you might not necessarily go after the highest scoring deer. You may pick the deer that's got the cool cheater or, a cool little kicker or, a big gnarly main beam and, he's just a 3-point in the front with, 2 cheaters off the left side. What is it that draws you to, what is it that draws you to those kinds of trophies would be one question. And two, I can understand how people would say, well, what does it score? And I myself am, really try to verse myself in field judging and being accurate. And I think some people misunderstand my love for field judging and scoring as someone that only cares about score, where I look at, being a good field judge is credibility and, the ability to be accurate and score something for what it is and judge something for what it is. It's kind of a twofold question, but, what is it about, if you drew a limited entry unit where, you had your choice of 50 bucks, why might you not choose the biggest scoring deer out of all 50?
Well, it's just like physical attraction. You can't explain it. I mean, the feeling, Jay. You got your 15s and you're scanning and you see a deer and you say, I want that buck. I want that buck. I don't know what it is. It's connection. It's instant. And when I did draw a premium Colorado 4th season rifle tag 2 years ago, and I said 200 or bust. That was my goal, and I got lots of crap for it because I'm always preaching score. Well, this unit had no sentimental value to me. It was a statistical thing. I waited in line. I calculated and contemplated where I would go and when and played the date. 4th season, how valuable that is. It's late, low pressure, tons of rut activity, a lot of migration. I got in there, I was looking for, I wanted a deer that I wouldn't be able to ever find in my general unit. So I was looking for quote-unquote a score. Lucky the big buck I killed had a lot of character and extras and all the other things I wanted too that were on my checklist. But in general, I can't explain it to answer your question. I mean, I just see a deer and I just want him. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like,
there's 10 bucks in this herd of the buck that I shot, and they may not score as well on paper, but I mean, just walking down the hill, there was 2 deer that had a lot bigger frames, wider, taller. My wife actually is trying to kill one of them. It's a 3x4, but it's probably 3-4 inches wider and maybe 18 inches on his G2s. He's a lot bigger deer, but I just wanted my buck because of the history. So it's tough to explain, but it's just like a pretty girl at the dance. You just see her and you're just in love, and she may not be the prettiest or the fittest or whatever. I mean, there's just a connection there, and it's the same thing with animals. For some reason, you can't explain it, but that there's bucks that just occupy your thoughts, and then your best buddy sitting next to you might say, "Man, you couldn't pay me to shoot that deer. I want the other one," and that's what's so fun about it. It's the trophy's in the eye of the beholder. So.
PhoneScope is a company that makes custom-molded, precisely engineered smartphone digiscoping adapters. Photographing wildlife has never been easier. It is simple to text photos and videos from your smartphone and share them with your friends. PhoneScope stands behind their product with a 100% money-back guarantee. Get yours now by using the JScott16 promo code and receive 10% discount on all purchases. Check them out at PhoneScope. That's PhoneSkope.com, or on Instagram at PhoneScope. I have known the owners of the Outdoorsmans in Phoenix for over 20 years. They are the authority on optics and hunting gear. Outdoorsmans is the leading designer and manufacturer of high-quality tripods, mounting accessories, and pack systems for all hunters. Their customer service is the best in the business. Go to outdoorsmans.com or call 1-800-291-8065 and use the J. Scott promo code to receive 10% off any products.
For sure. Absolutely. Well, it's awesome to see you have success, and, to have those failures, and we all have them. It's just interesting that a lot of people don't even talk about their failures or let anybody know that they fail. And the reality is, if you're a hunter, you fail most of the time and succeed very little, day in and day out. But persistence and staying with it and staying positive and keep grinding and just staying after it is a huge key. And I think time too, the more time that you can spend, the more successful you'll probably be. If you only had 2 days out of the season to hunt season after season, you probably wouldn't be very successful. Talk to me a little bit about your idea of time and how that plays into being a successful archery mule deer hunter.
Sure. I learned younger when I was 15, 16 years old. I think it was probably my 4th or 5th year hunting. I said, I'm never killing a forky again. I mean, I was bloodthirsty when I just started. I'd see a forky and I'd shoot it. But I realized your hunt's over when you pull the trigger. So to me, my time on the mountain is so precious. I only get a couple months a year to actually legally go out and pursue animals, and scouting and sheds and that stuff's all fun. But you and I know that you have a tag in your pocket. There is no feeling on earth like walking up a ridge with a rifle or a bow with a tag. There's just nothing. So to me, I don't want to prostitute out my time. My time is precious. It's special. I'm not going to settle. I want a big deer. I want a deer that's worth that tag. I want a deer that's worth that time. And so, for one, I'm conservative that way. And then for two, I love to be up there. Like, my wife teases me because I like to hike at 4 a.m. I like to, wear a tank top and sweat my tail off and burn up the ridge and get up there as fast as I can and time myself and push myself and get to the top and drink a gallon of water and eat a big, meal. And I just love to do it. I relish it. So to me, hunting it's fun as hell just to hunt, let alone kill stuff. And it's another reason why when guys criticize me for not killing anything, it's like I get to get home off the mountain. I could care less if I kill something. Like, I want to kill something, but it's not the determining factor of my happiness or my joy. It has nothing to do with it. But I have learned that the more time you spend whether you're pursuing a specific deer or just pursuing a category of deer that you're not settling, you're just going to learn. You're going to learn habits. You're going to learn techniques. You're going to learn, procedures, things that work, things that don't. You just have to be up there to just see it all and suck it in and know what kind of conditions you're getting into. And you have to learn the country. You have to learn, man, those deer always go up that right ridge. Every time when we bump them, they go up to the right. If you're not up there failing, you're not going to know that. And so 2 years later, when you kill a buck out of a rock blind, you build up there in March, and they run right to you, you could say you're lucky, or you could say, no, 2 years ago I learned my lesson because I failed and busted my butt up there, and I watched them run up that trail, and now I've got in front of them. That's how it all plays out. And those trophies are a culmination of so many hours of time and effort and energy and focus and conversations around the campfire or driving to and from work with my buddies and my dad or whoever, that, it's the time is the reason it comes together. You couldn't go up there in 2 days and kill a deer like that. Couldn't. And if you did, you wouldn't appreciate it. I would feel like the deer was shortchanged because, they're special. They're cool. They deserve to get away. They deserve to be pursued. They deserve to be relished over. I don't know. I feel like the harder it is, the better it is for that reason.
For sure. That's great stuff. So Rocky's got a deer tag coming up, and you also have an elk tag, don't you, this fall?
Yeah, I got a lake tag up north of you, and there's a lot of tags in it, but I know there's big bulls in there, and I got some really good buddies that are going to help out. So I'm gonna, again, I've killed elk, and I don't, those late bulls don't taste very good per se, so I'm going to hold out and try to kill a big bugger. I don't care if he's busted up, but I want a mature big bull. And so I got that, and then I got just general tags around, Utah general elk, archery, and then Idaho, and Rocky's going to be a big part of my summer or my fall because I'm trying to get her, her tags notched and obviously teach her and focus more on her. One of the downsides of my obsession is I'm very selfish with my time and my focus, and I forget that I've got a little partner right back there that's a total sponge that needs attention. Even though she's independent, she still needs, some TLC. So it's going to be nice. And part of our commitment planning the fall was we can't hunt ever with two tags. Like, I can't hunt with you at the same time. Like, it's your hunt or it's my hunt. So that's what's going to be fun. She actually drew a Southern Arizona coos tag for the October hunt too. So we're going to be down there chasing coos deer in the desert. She's going to get a real nice reality check with that. That'll be really fun for her. So
awesome.
We got a lot to do.
Well, thanks for sharing your time with us this morning. And again, congrats on the buck. And it's a cool story. And the listeners, I'm sure, can follow you on Instagram. Zach, why don't you tell them where they can see more on this buck and more on Summit Productions and what you've got going on?
Okay, thanks, Jay. Yeah, my website's I made it simple. It's just ZachGriffith.com, ZachGriffith.com. And then my Instagram, Facebook, everything's just Zac Griffith or ZachGriffith_com. It's pretty easy to find. Yeah, I posted a ton of pictures of him. I'm going to be posting a film this next week. I did not get a kill shot, but I did get tons of scouting and trail camera footage, and then I'm going to tie it all together with the story I told you about the square buck from that first year and just bring the whole thing like as a culmination. So this will be a really special film, and I'll have it up probably in the next few days. So something to watch for, and this will probably air after that comes out, but it'll be available on my website and everything. It'll be called Archers Educated Season 5. So
awesome, bud. Well, sounds good, and keep up the great work, and look forward to seeing how you do on the rest of your hunts, and always good talking to you.
Likewise, man. Good luck on your bull tag.
Yeah, it's I'm going to leave here in a day or two, and I'm kind of going into it with the same mentality of, I've got bulls that score really good and what have you, and people keep asking me about, what am I looking for? And it's just one of those things, when I see it, I'll know it.
Yeah.
And I can't really explain it, but I'm going to go and give it my best and hunt for a couple weeks and see what I can shake out. So appreciate the support, and I'll be following your adventures. Hopefully Rocky can get it done, and God bless you, buddy, okay?
Likewise, man. Thanks again for the time.